Tip number two. And once again, I know a lot of you guys work in, the referral business or relationship marketing. You might be entrepreneurs or self-employed business owners who are working on building up your clientele base, things like that. One thing I do want to say is a lot of people actually let fear dictate how they prospect for other people, right? Yeah, I don't think that it's the greatest idea to go prospecting, but that's one thing that I do want to talk about. And and that's just because like for a lot of people, fear stops them. And there's this really great book, The Power of One More. Or is it The Power of One More? I gotta think. Power of One More. Yeah, by Ed Milet. There we go. The Power of One, The Power of One More. As well. No, that's not the one I'm thinking about. Um, then it is Go for No. That's what it is. Go for No. This is a book. Who is this book by? Go for No. There's a couple different ones. Yes is the destination. I want to show you. Yes, it's the destination. No is how you get there. Go for No. This is going to be something that's going to help you dramatically with actually like accepting and taking no's. Here we go. Back here. So how do we start to conquer our fears this week and start to actually approach prospecting other people? Right. So I want to talk about what prospecting is in terms of business. All right. Prospecting in terms of business is when you actually get the chance to speak to someone very briefly to create curiosity in whatever your product is, whatever that product is, whether it is, something in sales, whether it's a business opportunity, whatever the case is, right? It allows you to pique some curiosity, get just some basic information to actually contact them at a later point to like maybe book an appointment or have a meeting, things like that, right? Now, with that, there's a lot of different types of common fears that are associated with prospecting. Like probably the biggest one is fear of rejection. Like a lot of times, no people don't want to even, like you might have a conversation with someone, yeah, at the mall, right? While you're waiting in line for a hot dog, I guess, right? You're waiting in line for a hot dog and you talk to the person, you're like, hey, how's everything going? It's a really nice day outside. And they're like, yeah, it is a really nice day, blah, 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 all the rest of that kind of good stuff. And then you actually having a really good conversation with that person. And then you think, they might be a great client for me. Or we might be able to be great business partners. Or we might be able to be great whatever. And a lot of times, the fact that somebody could say no causes you to be terrified and not even go in for the prospecting kill. Right? Well, what's wrong with if they say no? If they say no, well, guess what? They just didn't want it and you move on to the next. But like you never actually know if you never ask, if you never talk to them, or you never offer, or you never actually finish prospecting them. Right? Another fear that's extremely common is the fear of failure and of feeling like even if they get a no, they failed, or even if like they try to do it, they don't know how to do it. Right? And so because they don't know how to do it, they just know all of a sudden they're going to fail. And I'll say like, just because there's so many failures. I talked to you guys in the beginning about it, right? There's so many failures that you're going to have in life. It's never always going to be great. And so because of that, if you stop or you don't prospect or don't talk to this person simply because you're going to fail, you're never going to get better at it. You're going to have to fail until you get better at something. You're never going to just be great at something. All of a sudden, it doesn't matter what it is. And even so, you're not going to become the best at something by never failing. Right? Remember, you might feel like something is failure to you now when that was a high earlier in your life, when that was successful earlier in life. Right? And then a third big thing as well that happens when it comes to some of the common fears with prospecting is fear of the unknown. Like, especially, this mostly comes from when you don't do it often enough. And so you don't actually know how it's going to turn out. You don't know how the words are going to sound as they come out of your mouth. You don't know what it is that somebody's going to hear. You don't know how they're actually going to treat you, how they're going to react. Maybe they're going to blow it all out of proportion, go absolutely crazy. Maybe you're just also putting that in your head that somebody's going to blow up out of proportion, right? And you're blowing this whole situation. There's so many different things of the unknown that causes people to be terrified of prospecting. And so what I want to talk about like really quickly is just that having these fears really impact your actions and your decisions that you're going to make. Because if you are so terrified of talking to this person in just a regular conversation and then connecting with them and saying, hey, let's connect at a later time. I'd love to get the chance to add you to my network. If you never do that, you'll never add people to your network. But also, more importantly, you'll continue to let those fears dictate every other part of your life as well. Right? If you have the fear of rejection, there's going to be a lot of times you're going to get rejected. And if you let that fear stop you on just where you're trying to be successful, it's gonna stop you everywhere else where you're not trying to be successful. You're just trying to have a basic, comfortable life, right? And so, a couple things that I want to talk to you about how to identify them, your fears, is I need you to like actually go out and get ready to go talk to somebody. And before you go, like pick someone that you want to go talk to. And before you go talk to them, stop. Take out your phone and take a bunch of notes about how you feel. I mean, I want you to write down all the different rejections that they could potentially give you. And then also what things you might fail on and what you don't know. Like actually write down all of that stuff. And then leave it alone. Leave it alone. Don't go talk to that person. Don't go talk to that person. But I want you to figure out what in that is showing you where you're fearful. Right, if you see, there's a lot on the part where I'm just failing, like, then in that case, just go learn more. Go learn more about prospecting if you feel like you're going to fail. If you notice that a lot of what you wrote down is about rejection, go for no. Improve yourself. Better your brain and strengthen it so that way it doesn't scare you so much to hear a no, or no, I'm not interested, or whatever the case is. All right. And if it's fear of the unknown, well, go get more practice. Find a buddy to actually like role play with. Get practice on all the different outcomes that could happen. Already, those are some really good strategies right there. I don't even need to go into strategies, but some of the strategies I have for you is to reframe your mindset, right? Figure out different ways to start to grow your own mindset so that way you can start to have bigger perspective, right? One thing I loved, because for me, one of my favorite business partners, one of the closest business partners that I would have never imagined she was actually looking for a business opportunity. So I never even prospected her about it. Just because I was just like, oh, well, she's going to reject me. Not that I'm going to fail. And I already know what's going to happen. She's going to tell me, no, she's not interested. But you never actually know. And so without me actually going and growing my perspective, and finding power and different perspectives, I would have realized like she was in a situation where she was older, she's coming up on retirement, but I know she doesn't have anything planned for retirement at all. Like changing up my perspective by doing some reading and doing some learning and talking to other people, getting some mentorship, helped me to see like, well, duh, why wouldn't she want this career opportunity? Right? Start to change up your mindset, reframe your mindset. Also understand that little small wins are okay. Figure out little ways. Like if you just write down a couple different goals today and say, hey, over the next 2 weeks, all I want to do is identify people that I feel like will be great people for me to prospect. You just do that. Just as you go out, have that little small one, like, yeah, well, that would be a great person for me to prospect. And then just don't go and talk to them. Don't go and work with them. Don't do any of that kind of stuff. Right. But that's a little small win that allows you to start feeling like, okay, I can do this. Right. And then start maybe feeding yourself a little bit more. You know, Kevin McGinnis, really great man. He had a business partner of his, or a business mentee of his, who was struggling a lot with talking to people because she had so many issues with just talking to individuals. And I love her as well. She's actually going to speak at one of my events tomorrow. But she had, as well as Kevin McGinnis. Look both of them up. Kevin McGinnis, guy who ate McDonald's, lost a bunch of weight. Look him up. But anyway, so he told her, hey, here's what you're going to do. You're going to go out to like a grocery store, to a mall or somewhere, and you're going to talk to somebody and prospect them. But when it gets to ask for their phone number and to connect, you don't even do it. You just let them go. That little small win started to build up a lot of competition within herself that she could do better and better next time. All right, I've already talked about practicing already, but make sure you actually do some role play, because those kind of things will help you reduce that fear. Start to build a really good support system. If you have a community that's going to be there as well to help build you up on your journey to like learning about prospecting and talking to other people, really like the prospecting piece is learning how to just effectively and openly communicate with other people and actually genuinely caring about them. You're going to be all right. Right? Sometimes maybe you should incorporate fear into it, right? Like maybe having your fear there is what's going to help you out with prospecting someone, with talking to somebody, with offering them a product that they might actually need. Like for me, sometimes it's easier for me to go up to somebody and say, hey, like, you're extremely well, like you look extremely successful. I know you're probably much further out of my league, but a really quick question, like, how did you get that success? Like, I would just love to know, just because like I'm always looking to improve myself. And I'm just so terrified to talk to a lot of people. Like, I'm terrified to talk to you, but like maybe that'll help me out. And that's going to provide so much genuine care from that person that you're prospecting. And now they might want to be a mentor of yours, and you can flip the script on them later on and actually help them out because you have maybe some kind of value that could help them, right? Maybe incorporate it into your strategies of prospecting.